guys, it's Melanie. Welcome back. I hope your day is off to a fantastic start. Today's video is actually courtesy of a suggestion from one of you guys. So thank you for this idea, because honestly, I can't believe that I didn't think to update about this particular thing 10 years after it happened, but let's do it. So I received a comment on a random video from someone who suggested that I do a 10-year post mommy makeover surgery update. If you are not familiar, back in December of 2013, I think, yeah, it was 2013, I think it was, I had a mommy makeover surgery. I shared the whole journey here on my YouTube channel. I have like deleted a lot of my playlists, but all of the videos are very clearly labeled, so you can actually just search mommy makeover here on my channel and those videos should pop up for you. But yeah, it has been over 10 years now since I have had that surgery, and I never did any like updates after the first year. I just kind of assumed like, well, this is it, you know? But honestly, I think it's kind of an interesting idea to share how I felt about that particular surgery now that a decade has essentially gone by, whether I would do it again, whether I thought it was worth it long term, how I feel about the scars. I get a lot of questions about scars. So I actually filmed some footage earlier downstairs. The lighting down there was much better, where I shared the actual scars from specifically my tummy tuck. One of the things that makes it hard to share like my entire scar is that the middle of it is really, really low. So in order to not get flagged by YouTube, I had to be kind of careful about how much of the scar I showed here. But I will put that footage in towards the end of the video here. So if you're interested about what the scars look like, I'll share some footage of that once I get to that particular part of the update. But anyway, so thanks for the idea. This is a fantastic idea. And in short, do I still think that 10 years later that it was worth it and that I would do it all over again? Hands down, yes. Listen, this was not an easy procedure for me. Honestly, a lot of the videos that I shared, especially for the first few days after the surgery, they're kind of hard to watch because I was really struggling just breathing. When she tightened my muscles, so when she sewed my stomach muscles back together, I had a really severe case of diastasis recti, which basically allowed my lungs to just be able to expand a whole lot more than normal, basically. And, you know, it had been over a year since I had Stella at that point. And so like, I just had kind of gotten used to not having any muscles in that area and just, you know, breathing however. And it was really difficult for me to get air because I felt like I couldn't expand my lungs as big as I was used to expanding them now that the stomach muscles were essentially like sewn together again. So I just felt like I couldn't get a full breath. And that was kind of terrifying, honestly. It did make me feel like I was not getting enough air, and not necessarily that I was like choking or anything like that, but it was just a very scary feeling. So that part of it was really uncomfortable. Also, my pain level was pretty severe afterwards, but it did taper off after the first couple of weeks. The first couple of weeks is really like the most difficult time. But after I started kind of healing up a little bit more and being able to move a lot more freely, and once I could stand up straight, which took, gosh, I can't even remember. I think it took at least a month for me to like fully be able to like stretch my back, because you're hunched over, right? Like the skin is so tight after the surgery, like it just needs time to kind of relax and adjust to the new norm. And then also my muscles were just so used to like just sitting there and really like not, you know, getting much work. And so it was really hard to initially begin like starting to actually stand up straight. But yeah, like I will say the like breast reduction part of my, I feel like I talk a lot about the tummy tuck part, but for me, one of the main reasons that I actually went in for this whole situation was to finally have a breast reduction, which I had been wanting since I was probably 17 or 18 years old. I developed very quickly once I reached high school, and I went from like a B cup when I was in middle school to by the end of high school, I was already like a double D. So like my boobs just grew really fast and they were big, and I didn't want that. I mean, I know that is like something that a lot of girls dream about. It wasn't my thing at all. It just made me really uncomfortable. And honestly, the back pain was really obnoxious, and I dealt with pain from that for years. And after I had Stella, my boobs got even bigger. Like by the time that I was done breastfeeding Stella, I think I was like a G cup. It was absurd, you guys. Like my boobs just grew even more, and I had always known that I would get a breast reduction. And honestly, that part of the surgery was really a breeze for me. I think the fact that the tummy tuck was so painful maybe took my mind off of what was happening with my chest at the time. But I don't remember any real pain or discomfort in my chest area. It was all from the tummy tuck portion. So yeah, I have to say that after, you know, that year of healing, I really liked the way that I looked, and I still to this day really like the way that I look. I have gained weight since that surgery. So starting in 2020, the pandemic eating really did get me. I gained about 10, 15 pounds. Now, 5 pounds I've been able to lose really easy, you know, several times since I've started trying to lose that extra weight. And then I usually just kind of slide back into old habits, and then, you know, I'll either just have that extra 10 pounds hanging on, and sometimes I've even gained back like that extra 5 pounds and then lost it again a few months later. It's kind of been a little bit of like a roller coaster ride. I do need to get serious about losing that little bit of weight. And it's not for like any like vanity reason. I think I notice that any amount of extra weight really does slow me down. It just makes me a lot less motivated to move. And I'm someone who really likes to be busy. And while it takes me a little bit to get into an exercise routine, once I'm in one, I feel so good and I just want to keep doing it. But it's just getting to that point where it becomes a routine that is really hard for me. But I really do want to lose that extra 10 pounds. What I will say is it's very easy for me now to lose weight in like my tummy and my flank area. That's really where I think the bulk of the weight comes off extremely quickly. I do carry quite a bit of weight in my thighs as well. That tends to be a little bit more stubborn when it comes to, you know, reducing those areas. But in terms of, you know, along the scar or along like my hips and like my back flank area, I don't even know what the technical name for that is, but I lose weight there very easily with good diet and, you know, incorporating exercise. So, but overall, I'm still so pleased with the surgery. I have no regrets. I would recommend my surgeon to anyone. She is fantastic. And I think she did a great job. My scars aren't perfect. I do have some dog ears, especially at the end of my tummy tuck scar line on either side. I actually did have a revision for that. So I went in office. I think it was about maybe 8 to 10 months after the initial surgery, and she tried to revise the very ends of the scar, but it really didn't take. I ended up getting the dog ears forming again, and so she did offer to have me come in one more time, and I was like, you know what? They really don't bother me that much when I am wearing swimsuits, either a one-piece or a two-piece, because I typically wear like the high-waisted bottoms. You can't see the dog ears at all, and it just, I don't know, I don't think about them, so they're fine. And honestly, that was kind of painful. That revision was a little uncomfortable, and it stung for a few days after, because, you know, like they cut into your tissue and remove it and then sew you back up again, and doing that it's uncomfortable. I really honestly just didn't want to do it again. But yeah, still would do it over again. I'm glad I did it when I did it. It was hard doing it with such a young child, but my mom was amazing. She came down and she picked Stella up and kept her for the first week. And then the second week we had some friends and family, because Craig had to go back to work. We had some friends and family that came over, you know, and helped me with managing Stella. And after, I would say about the third week, like I was totally fine just puttering around after Stella myself again. I couldn't pick her up. So we didn't really go on a lot of adventures for a little while there. But once I was able to start picking her up again, you know, like I had no problem going out and just living my life. It is a very long recovery. It takes about a full year after your surgery to see like the full final results, but I was very happy with the final results after a year, and 10 plus years later, I'm still happy. So anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the footage that I took this morning of the tummy tuck scar. The scar around my boobs, by the way, is just as light. In fact, you can't even really tell that anything happened with my chest at all. They look great. I'm still a D cup. I don't love that. I really wish I was more like a, you know, maybe like a large C, somewhere around there. The smaller would have been better for me, but also I understand just proportionally she did what made sense for my height and my stature, so it's fine, it's fine. But I do still sometimes wish that she had gone a little bit smaller, but the scars are virtually invisible along the breast reduction, so nothing really to report there. There's no dog ears or anything that formed. If you're familiar with the types of incisions that they do for a breast reduction, mine was that classic like lollipop style, and it looks great. So, but anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the footage of the scar for my tummy tuck. All right, friends, we are in my dining room, which had the best possible lighting for this situation. So let's take a look at my tummy tuck scar. My particular scar is in the shape of what I would say is like almost like a smile line. So my scar starts quite high up here on my hips and then goes down very, very low in the center here. I've seen a lot of tummy tuck scars that are much more just straight across from just like the lower hip area. I'm not sure why mine was placed higher up, but I mean, whatever, it's fine. It's hidden all the time, so it really doesn't bother me. I will say I did have some scar tissue that formed along the front of my incision here. It's actually quite hard underneath here. There's not a lot of give. Like there's a little layer of fat over here right now, but underneath that is just this really hard tissue, and it's basically just scar tissue from this part of the incision. But let me show you guys the sides here, and you can also get a sense of just how much she removed in terms of my stretch marks. So most of the stretch marks that I got from pregnancy were cut off, but I do still have a few that are somewhat visible in this area over here. But again, they're skin colored, they don't really bother me. But this is that dog ear that ended up forming on this side even after a revision. So I just don't think that my skin is ever gonna really lay smooth here the way that I kind of expected it to, but that's okay. You can see the scar is really light, like very, very light. I mean, I can barely tell when I'm looking at it in the mirror that it's even there. I'll show you guys the other side. So you can tell a little bit more from that dog ear with the lighting at this angle over here, but it's just this little bit of extra skin that just, it tends to just want to like pucker a little bit. So it is what it is. That is a complication that they warn you about, so definitely be mindful of that. But I feel like this is fine for me personally. So in terms of my belly button, I feel like that healed really nicely. Honestly, it looks exactly like my belly button did before, so that's fine. In terms of my muscles, like my core, still really, really strong, and I do have Alf here. To my right, that's the snoring that you're hearing. But yeah, like my stomach muscles are still really, really taut. And I still have a lot of strength in my core, even though I'm not like doing a ton of ab work right now. So yeah, overall, I'm still really pleased with how it turned out. See that 10-year-old scar. Honestly, I'm very pleased with how it looks after a decade. I think given what she had to work with how my body looked before, with how my body tends to heal normally after, you know, medical procedures like that, I think it turned out as well as it possibly could. So I'm very pleased with my outcome. I am always happy to answer questions about any of the procedures that I've had done. I really like sharing my experiences here on YouTube because I can't even begin to tell you how helpful it was for me to find other people's videos about their experiences with both a breast reduction and a tummy tuck. There were so many people whose videos I watched here on YouTube, and it just helped to prepare me in terms of what to expect during the procedure, after, and then even long term. So I really educated myself by watching a lot of other people's experiences, and I was so happy to be able to kind of add on to that. So, you know, everyone's experience is going to be different. That's the thing that you'll find watching a lot of these different videos. It really depends on your body, how you tend to heal after procedures, you know, how your body deals with scarring, whether you tend to develop the keloid scars or whether, you know, you're going to end up with dog ears. It really depends on every person's unique situation. But at least you are fully prepared for all of the outcomes by, you know, just watching different people's experiences. I think there's no better way to educate yourself than by asking others, you know, how they felt about something, whether they would do it again, whether it was worth the investment overall. So yeah, if you have any of those questions, I am absolutely happy to answer those for you. So let me know in the comments down below. If you're not comfortable asking here on YouTube, you can reach out to me over on Instagram as well. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you to the person who suggested this, because honestly, I would have never even thought to like update you guys. But yeah, I'm happy. I'm really glad that I did this. I think also the surgery is a lot more expensive now. So I'm kind of glad I did it back when I did. Not that it was like, it was an investment for sure, but it wasn't nearly as bad as some of the pricing that I've seen nowadays. But I will say the best thing you can do is seek out the most qualified surgeon. This is not a procedure that you want to necessarily price shop for. I understand that budgets are a concern, but the worst thing that could happen is you go to someone who botches the job, and then you have to go to someone else to fix it, because you're essentially paying for the procedure twice at that point, and you're having to go through everything twice. It's just not worth it. Find someone who, you know, is really knowledgeable and good at what they do. That's my number one piece of advice. This is not an area where you want to skimp. If you truly can't afford it, put it off and continue to save until you have enough to be able to pay for the most qualified surgeon. So anyway, let me know if you have any other questions. I appreciate you guys being here. Subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Toodaloo.